I'm back with another Legacy video today, and today I'm going to be playing Dimir Tempo. This is the deck I've been gravitating towards more recently, and the list that you see here is what feels like is emerging as a stock list. I believe the list originally comes from ecobaronen, and there have been a number of players who have gotten top finishes in various challenges and events like that. And so I want to give this exact 75 a run in this video. Some things that are a little bit different from what I typically like to run. This deck does have 2 copies of Mishra's Bauble, which synergizes really nicely with Nethergoyf and Barrowgoyf, making their power and toughness just a little bit bigger. In order to make room for the 2 baubles, I have been liking 3 Murktides, but this list has 2 Murktides, and I've been seeing a lot of similar lists that are on 2. And then there's only 3 copies of Ponder, actually. And that's something where I have some reservations about that, because any time other than maybe the first turn or 2 of the game, Ponder is going to be a much better card than Mishra's Bauble. Mishra's Bauble works a lot better with Dragon's Rage Channeler that also has the Surveil. So here it is just functioning as a buff for Nethergoyf while providing a little bit of extra information potentially for the opponent. Or you can always bauble yourself if you have like 2 lands and one of them's a fetch land. And so there's definitely some utility, but the card quality is a little bit less than what I typically like to run with 4 copies of Ponder. That being said, I really haven't been having very great results lately in my own gameplay. I've been in a little bit of a slump, and that's been de-incentivizing me to make content. So I'm sorry I've been a little bit quiet on the internet with my content lately, but I'm hoping to ramp that back up again. I've got some really exciting stuff planned, and hopefully this league goes well. All right, I'm on the play for match number 1. And yeah, this hand is fine. It's a little flooded. I would love to trade one of these lands for a threat, but I will keep it. And I'm probably gonna start with this Underground Sea and then cast Ponder. I could also start with a fetch land and then plan on putting this Underground Sea back, but I think I'll just go ahead and do this. This also could incentivize them to wasteland. And if they wasteland and that sets them back a bit, that'll be to my advantage. Okay, these cards are really good. I'll just put the Kaito on bottom, then Nethergoyf, then Thoughtseize. And next turn, I would love to be able to brainstorm. But it's rough because I don't have the option to go like Thoughtseize plus Nethergoyf, and then keep the Kaito, which I really want. So I could even just play the Kaito, or I don't know, this could end up being oops, and I could just be dead. But let's see. I'll let my opponent take a turn before I think too hard about what I need to do next turn. All right, White of the Reliquary. So now I do quite like Nethergoyf next turn. Okay, Ignoble. I do feel like I need to probably Thoughtseize. So I'll choose to actually brainstorm, and I'll just hold the Nethergoyf. Okay, and then I can just put back 2 lands, and then I'm going to get that white out of hand. Okay, white and then a bunch of cubs. So they don't really have a whole lot going on here. But frustratingly, they will have blockers if they choose to block the Nethergoyf. I will be happy to have 2 copies of Toxic Deluge in the sideboard to come in for that. I'm guessing this is going to be double cub, but I guess not. I guess they're going to play Birds of Paradise, maybe play around Days a little bit. Though they could actually, I mean, this will tap for 2. So this could be double cub here. Ah, they have another white off the top. Okay, that's fine. So I'll probably go kill the white, Nethergoyf, Tamiyo. And then they're going to end up being a little bit flooded here, I just have to hope that they don't draw anything remarkable. So I need to X out this Windswept Teeth because that was their land last turn. So their hand is Misty, Badgermole, Birds of Paradise. Nothing really concerning. And I'll drop my 2 threats. Now, interestingly, if you think back to the first turn, if I had fetched, okay, and that was their draw for turn, so I still have perfect information. But to complete my thought, if I had fetched using one of those fetch lands as my first land drop, then I would have had the option last turn to Thoughtseize plus Nethergoyf. Now, I don't anticipate they're going to block the Nethergoyf, but they could. Next turn, though, if they don't block it, I'll have the opportunity to replay it. All right, well, they have a zillion mana, and they could block with, like, the Bayou or something like that, and it would come back. So I guess let's just see how they treat their next turn. Okay, flipping Tamiyo is pretty nice here. I will play the land out, and then I'll go to attacks. I imagine they block the Tamiyo, and then I think if I were them, yeah, I would throw the Bayou in front of it. So what I'll do then is actually just brainstorm first, and then I have to decide if this Kaito is going to be really good. Bowmaster is not great. I can ping the Ignoble. I think another Nethergoyf is probably not great. And I think I am going to give up on the Kaito. I think it's going to be pretty tough to defend. Okay, so I plus the Tamiyo. And then thankfully I can ponder first and then decide what to do with my mana. I think those are cards I want to shuffle. Don't really think Daze is going to be that good. Okay, I could cast Murktide. If I cast Murktide, their blocks are pretty limited. As it stands, Bowmaster would already be a good blocker for whatever they have. I think I will plan to ambush with a... I think it is better to just cast Murktide here. And I can do it in a way that minimally shrinks the Nethergoyf. Like I can make it just a 7/7. But I want to be able to get them dead. Because they could just top deck Natural Order at any time. And then I'm really in trouble. Now, I did kind of punt there because I should have thought about what card I wanted to be able to minus and pick up with Tamiyo. It's really nice to see them play that card out, though. I'm very much appreciative of having total information. Though my opponent is definitely playing a deck that just taps out a lot and plays things out. They don't really hold stuff too much. So let's see here. I think I'm going to start by cracking the clue. I don't think I need to play out this Tamiyo. Okay, Bobble. Well, that'll make my Goyf a little bigger. I can Bobble them now, though I think they're liable to crack this. Ooh, an Endurance. Good to know. It's actually quite good to know about, because that's a very sneaky card. And then I don't think I need to go after any of this stuff. I think I'll just plus. And then if I attack with Nethergoyf, they're going to block with the Mortuary. So I'm just going to hold back the Nethergoyf. This thing existing as a creature represents a negligible amount of mana. And I just don't want to give them the opportunity here. I guess I should have pinged the birds down. So that's my bad. But I want them to... Yeah, I should have just pinged the birds down with the Bowmaster. Okay, they are fetching. So Endurance is gone. And getting a Dryad Arbor. My only fear right now is Natural Order. Daze. Looks pretty bad right now. If they maybe could have hardcast a Hoof, maybe I could Daze that. Though I think they could get around that pretty easily. This is hardcast Hoof mana right here, just these creatures. So if they attack in with the Cubs, which are the only things that could attack in, they'd be 1/2s. And Bowmaster could ping that thing down pretty easily. Okay, so they're choosing to attack with that. I mean, I'm definitely going to block. They could have Endurance. Okay, this does get them a Surveil, though, so that is kind of heads up. And they bin Badger Mole Cubs, so still no known information. I do think I'm just going to drop the Bowmaster, though, and ping down probably one of the Ignobles. Because right now I want to start constricting their mana in case they have hardcast Craterhoof. It's really, I think, the only meaningful interaction I have left. So another Goyf is not bad, but it's not really good either. I think I'm supposed to... Man, I don't know what card they could have kept. I think I'll go to combat with these two things. See if they have blocks. Okay, no blocks. And then I will just put as much power on board as possible for next turn. And then, quite honestly, I don't really think I need to ultimate the Tamiyo. So I'm just going to pick up the Brainstorm. And I think I'll just do it. I know it means that this Tamiyo will flip. Okay, and there's Force of Will. So that's exactly what I was looking for. So I'm feeling pretty grateful for having done it this way. So I'll keep the new Tamiyo plus the Tamiyo. But I think this forced blue card situation is going to get me to where I need to go. So I was pretty happy with that decision to not be too greedy. And plus the Tamiyo. Like, I already have them dead on board with Murktide. Okay, Quirion Ranger does represent a lot of mana, but mana is not the issue. Right now, the issue for them is just resolving a big payoff, which I think they're probably attempting to do. Formidable Speaker. So Formidable Speaker could get Hoof, maybe? Though I don't think they have the mana to cast Hoof. I think rather than... Maybe it could get Grist. I'm just going to force this. I don't want them to be able to get... Like, I haven't seen lists that have Formidable Speaker in it. So I would hate for them to be able to get something that's, like, uncounterable or could otherwise mess this up. So I'm just going to stop this while I can. Definitely, though, given how I played the last turn, I easily could have had more points of damage. As you see, my Goyfs are now 5-6 and then Murktide 8-8, so I could have possibly had them at 4 life if I did some of the stuff that I chose to do. So against this deck, I want maximum removal. Shoulder's Edict is not fantastic because they are very liable to have lots of creatures. So that would have to come early in the game. Deluge, though, will be an MVP. I really don't think Kaito is very good in this matchup. It's just really hard to have a super clear board. Tamiyo can be quite good. And Force of Will, I think, is quite good. I think I can get rid of the Dazes as well. So maybe I have room for one Barrow Goyf. I don't think I need to go up on Borrowers. In fact, I don't even really love this particular Brazen Borrower. But I'll leave it in nevertheless. All right, I am on the draw this game, which stinks, but this looks like a really good hand. Can you just imagine this on the play, though? Thoughtseize turn 1, they play out a Dork, I Bowmaster the Dork before it taps for mana. Just would be really sweet. That being said, though, Thoughtseize, when I know they at least have a Badger Mole Cub, feels pretty good. And then next turn I can Bowmaster this thing or Fatal Push. More important creature. Okay. Their hand's not very good. And I definitely think I'm just going to take Badger Mole Cub. So next turn, I'm guessing they're going to Once Upon a Time, like maybe go play the Boseiju, then Once Upon a Time. Okay, so they drew Birds. And then probably play out Dryad Arbor if I had to guess. Okay, Boseiju, so they're still going to cast once. I'm a little surprised they didn't play the Once Upon a Time around Days, because it's sort of their only action. Keen-Eyed Curator. That's a pretty annoying card. But I think that's what I can Fatal Push as things stand right now. I think I want to Bowmaster, probably Ignoble. Well, I'll Bowmaster the birds. It might be a more important blocker, and I think the Exalted is pretty negligible. Okay, so they played the Curator out. Now I assume they're going to get Cradle. But importantly, I only have one card in my graveyard, so they don't really have a lot of things they can get on the way out with the Curator. Okay, Foothills. So they keep giving me perfect information, but I think that's probably correct. All right, so I'll push this. They might even get some of the cards out of their graveyard. But yeah, they eat my Thoughtseize. And then they let it die. So they're going to leave their graveyard intact, which is good for my potential Barrogoyf. Okay, are these cards good? I don't mind the Tamiyo, and I don't mind the Snuff Out. I know that they have nothing going on. I don't like the Borrower, but next turn, if I put this on bottom, I can put that in my graveyard. So I think these cards are fine. I'll just go ahead and play out Nethergoyf. And I'll go to combat. I think the best thing they could draw is a white or just natural order. That's always the best card. Though I think if I can think correctly, I think a lot of these decks board out or board down on natural order against the Force of Will decks. If they did draw Green Suns and they get a white, that'll be a problem. Okay, Green Suns for 3. Could be a Grist. Grist wouldn't do too well on this board. It could be Endurance. Okay, Grist. And plussing the Grist. That's fine. So I'll go ahead and Sewers pre-combat, get that Brazen Borrower in my graveyard. And then I think I just swing out at Grist. All creatures attack Grist the Hunger Tide. I don't think they're gonna block with Ignoble, so I'm not gonna worry about snuffing it out. Okay, they are blocking. So the Grist will just take 1. And then something cool about Grist is that the -2 says you may sacrifice a creature. So if they play that Dryad Arbor out and then -2 without playing out another creature, I could snuff out the Dryad Arbor, and then the Grist would not be able to kill my Tamiyo, which is, I think, the thing they would most likely go for. So I'm going to just empty my hand. I'll see how they play their next turn, but things are not looking good for this Grist no matter what. Okay, they are creating an insect. Playing out Dryad Arbor. And then I get a fresh draw. Tamiyo not very good. But I'm going to keep swinging out at the Grist. If their last card is Endurance, that's pretty good. I just don't think I'm in a position to play around Endurance. It would appear, though, that they don't have Endurance. Okay, so I do have an instant already in my yard. But I'm going to go ahead and draw Thoughtseize. That'll be nice to get that last card out. I imagine it's a land, to be quite honest. Okay, now they do have something. Maybe it is Endurance. Talon Gates. Well, I was right. It was a land. So I guess they're going to Talon Gate the Nethergoyf. That's fine. And then I don't really have anything to do here except pass. Okay, they make another insect. Ooh, they mill a Grist. Oh, a Springheart Nantuko. So they got 2 insects there. That's pretty cool. It's actually really good because this Grist continuing to tick up will be a problem. Okay, so now I can at least flip the Tamiyo. But I probably should have... Here I am going to combat, but I should have pondered before combat. That would have been much better. Okay, so they continue to chump. I guess before going to blocks, I should have cracked this clue. So I'm having a really terrible turn here. Glad to see Force of Will. I'm going to flip the Tamiyo. Lands and then another Nethergoyf. I don't love it, but triple Goyf is pretty good. So I will do that. I don't need to worry about Thoughtseizing because I have them... I have Force of Will. I mean, the worst thing they could have is maybe like a natural order that they could cast, but I'm guessing if they didn't draw a land, then they drew something like Atraxa. There's the Hoof, it's in the graveyard. So I'm happy to see that. So what I'm going to start with is a Thoughtseize. Casting Endurance. So if I let them get rid of the cards in my graveyard, these will be I can get them back to 3/4. So I don't need to stress about this. I'm also glad that I didn't -3 the Tamiyo into this blowout. Okay, so it was a land. So I will snuff the Endurance, paying life. I will fetch, get an Underground Sea, swing out at the Grist. Grist goes to 1, so next turn it's dead for sure. Just plus the Tamiyo, and then I'll pass. Things are looking pretty good, I think. Right, another 1/1. They mill a Gaia's Cradle. They play that land out. If I draw another blue card, that would be awesome, because then I can actually play out this Tamiyo. Another Thoughtseize, not great. Let's try to kill the Grist. And it might be wasteful, but I'm going to swing them all at Grist. Grist is down. I can plus the Tamiyo, so Tamiyo Ultimate should be game winning. I have Force of Will. Let's just see what happens. I bet they have a land in hand, and let's see. I don't think I'll force anything. Like, if they just play White of the Reliquary or something like that, I would not Force of Will. I would only force something that could keep me off the Tamiyo Ultimate, which would basically be an Orcish Bowmasters if they play it, or like a Natural Order. Natural Order might not keep me off it, but would just be a good enough card to force. Green Suns for 3. Could be another Grist. As things stand, they have 2 mana. There's nothing I'm really worried about that costs 2 mana. I don't want them to Grist and then minus. So I'm going to hard cast this Force. All right, good games. All right, I'm on the draw for match number 2 versus friend of the channel, Larson. Larson is very well known as a cephalid breakfast player. I don't know if that's what he's going to be on here today. I think since the Nadu ban, a lot of us breakfast gamers have moved on, which is very sad. But let's see. Maybe Larson is repping the cephalids today. Basic Swamp indicates probably not. So this could be a mirror. This could be a lot of things. I like to draw a Fatal Push. I think the play here is Tamiyo. This could be Dimir that Larson is on. This could be like the Moonshadow mono black decks. I think Larson always has a really good sense of decks to play though, so whatever deck Larson is on, I definitely think that is a compliment for the deck. Bloodstained Mire doesn't really help a lot, nor does Fatal Push in determining what is going on there, but this fetch probably will. Going for the Sewers right away. Still could be anything. Next turn I should probably Bowmaster. Excuse me, I should Brainstorm while my opponent is not holding up Bowmaster, and then probably push this thing. Daze is a nice pickup. If my Brainstorm gets dazed, it's no big deal. Okay, with no Nethergoyf in sight, I think this Bauble is a safe card to put back. I think I want the land, as I now have Kaito. So because I like all the other cards, I'll actually just hide some of this stuff from a Thoughtseize. So let's see. If I keep the Bauble, then I can actually have all of these cards by next turn. Though I don't want all the cards by next turn. if I bobble now, that plays into a Thoughtseize, but it could convince Larson to play a Bowmaster into a Daze. Of course, the pause on that Brainstorm indicates that there could have been a Daze that he has, which means we would just trade Dazes and then the Bowmaster would live. But then I could Bowmaster it, and there might not be mana to Thoughtseize. I think I'm just going to plan to keep all of these cards. I'll do that. I'll Fatal Push, Nethergoyf, cast Bobble, Bobble Larson, Moonshadow. Okay. All right. And there was no Bowmaster in the upkeep. Okay, there's Moonshadow. Sadly, it will not be Bowmasterable. And now I draw the Kaito. I think I do want to Ponder. I'll go ahead and do that now. Murktide seems pretty good, as does Thoughtseize. But none of this seems as good as just Bowmaster, because I want to get the Kaito in. So I will draw the Murktide, and then probably end up shuffling away the other cards. Ooh, an Urborg is interesting. And then Mutated Cultist, that's pretty cool. Yeah, that'll be a problem. And then I still think I want to fetch here. So this deck probably also runs Dark Depths, if I had to guess. Okay, so the land is good. I actually want to play that out. Because now if I get pushed like before blocks, I can Daze, and then I can still Kaito. So this is a very obvious play, what's happening here. But I think I just have to do it. And then I'll Ponder first. I guess it doesn't really matter. I need to just spend this turn tapping this thing down, but I will Ponder first. That's a shuffle. Okay, there's push, so that's nice, but I need to tap this thing down. If there's another cultist in hand, that can just kill my Kaito. Okay, Hex Mage. That'll kill Kaito, yeah. Yep, that's rough. And I get hit for 1. Okay, Snuff Out, not super great. I guess this thing is non-black, but I can make a pretty big Murktide. So I'll do that. I'm gonna hold the push in case there's anything more pressing I need to push. All right, now I have to hope that Larson is not playing Snuff Out. Thoughtseize. Well, I guess this is where I have to push this. And then I don't think paying 4 life is worth killing Mutated Cultist. So I'm going to let that happen. And then a Hex Mage. Ooh, that can remove the counters from the Murktide. That's pretty annoying. This thing has Death Touch. Yeah, that's fine. Ooh, Kaito. I'm going to attack. See if I can bait the Hex Mage sacrifice. And then I will probably just Kaito in. Okay, so taking 7 there. Maybe Larson wants to get more damage in off of me. If I play Kaito, it dies. But I can 0 right away. And then Larson would need another one of these effects. I think it's worth it to cast Kaito just for the 0 ability. And then if you still go after the Murktide, then I just have Kaito. Okay, I think I like Force of Will. And I think I like Nethergoyf. If I put Nethergoyf in the yard, I can grow the Murktide to lethal next turn. If they shrink it. So I think that was good. Okay, 2/3 Nethergoyf. I think I let that go. Okay, so coming at the Kaito for 2. Ooh, Bowmaster. Bowmaster seems pretty good here. So sadly, the line that I talked about earlier about Nethergoyf, that doesn't really work because you can't do this like at instant speed. And so if the Hexmage pops in combat, then I'm kind of out of luck. This thing has Death Touch, so I think what I'm supposed to do is go to combat just with Murktide, and then I'll zero the Kaito. And then here that Hexmage has to sacrifice. Zero the Kaito. Another Bowmaster is perfect, because that's just lethal right there. Sweet. Alright, so against this deck, I don't know if they're gonna have Dark Depths. I sort of suspect yes. Especially because of Urborg. So I think I like Sheoldred's Edict quite a bit, and Brazen Borrower quite a bit. Borrower also pretty good against Moonshadow. Deluge, probably not really necessary. And Barrowgoyf could be nice to gain life. So that's 5 cards that are pretty decent. Bowmaster is probably not outstanding. I do think this deck I want Force of Will. I don't think I need to worry about Consign to Memory. I know that would hit the Cultist, but I just don't think that's really worth it. I think I'm just going to trim a Bauble and the Bowmasters. Alright, this hand seems pretty good. I will keep. I also don't know if Larsen's on a Wasteland deck. Okay, there's the Moonshadow right on time. I'll just kill it right away, I think. And I should have started with the island, actually. I didn't think about that. Urborg. I'm going to pass. And yeah, I definitely should have started with the island. But I'm going to see if I can get Larsen to sink some stuff into this Moonshadow and make some plays to push damage before I push it. Dauthi Voidwalker. That's also quite good. Go ahead and push this thing now. And then the Voidwalker, I think I will just go ahead and Edict it. I don't really want this card on the battlefield. Each opponent sacrifices a non-token creature. I cannot tell you how paranoid I am resolving Sheoldred's Edict. Let's see. I really hope I don't get my fetch land wastelanded. But if I do, I've at least tapped it for the same mana I would have tapped it for anyway. So I don't feel like I've been at a loss. I've just saved 1 life, and I have this Brainstorm. So, oh boy. Into Turok, sure. And Netherwave. Okay. So I just spent Sheoldred's Edict on a non-Dark Depths card. I can get the Murktide down. I think I like Tamiyo and then Brainstorm right away. I should have fetched first. This is another bit of value I've left on the table because in response to the fetch, there could be a Snuff Out. Okay. Not great. I imagine next turn I'm going to play Barrowgoyf. But I can also Thoughtseize still. I haven't made my land drop, so I'm going to give up on Murktide, I think. And yes, I will fetch. I don't have to fetch, but I will. Okay, Dauthi and oh god, a Wasteland. Well, I can kill the Nethergoyf. Actually, I can't kill the Nethergoyf because of it's going to attack Tamiyo. So I really actually have to hope that I get a land. If I get a land, I'll start feeling okay. Okay, my own Nethergoyf is actually pretty good because it can block pretty profitably against Larsen's. But now that decision about Barrowgoyf looks really bad. Alright, removing ice counters manually. Moonshadow is good. That won't be able to be blocked. And then, okay. So yeah, presumably there's a Surveil land in the deck. So growing Murktide would be good. But it doesn't really matter right now for this turn. Because it's going to get the -1. Ooh, but leaving a card on top feels very much like there's going to be a card I really don't want to see come soon. So I think I need to minus here and get Shoulder's Edict. And then I'll play out Barrogoyf. And then I don't really have a good attack, so I'll hold back. Okay, Shoulder's Edict. Oh, and a misclick of some kind? Man, I was just talking about that. Well, I think that misclick is going to be pretty rough. And even if it had resolved, I guess it was going to go after Tamiyo. That's not the best. Thoughtseize not the best. So I think I'm willing to trade Barrogoyf for both of these if that's what Larson wants to do. Yep, fine by me. So now, yeah, still having Tamiyo here is like really brutal. Bringing back Nethergoyf is pretty good. All right, I think we are in a race here. I will attack with the Nethergoyf. And I'm asking Larson if he went after Tamiyo. If he says yes, I might just not plus it. I might just play honorably. Yeah, might as well. I like Larson, so I'll all right, I think that Barrogoyf draw is gonna help quite a bit here. And Larson is expressing his appreciation for my decision to not plus the Tamiyo, but oh, I'd love to say I'm an honorable person, but I feel like being ahead helps that decision. So, all right, that Dark Depths could get there one day. So I guess you attack with the Moonshadows, maybe. Yeah, I think maybe you do attack with the Moonshadows, unless the plan is just to chump now. I don't know. Whatever Larson did is probably correct. When he clicks correctly on his cards, he's a force to be reckoned with. Yeah, so it looks like there's going to be a chumping of Barrogoyf happening. And these things do get a little bigger. But I just think this is going to go my way. And I have the answer for Meryl Age. And even if I didn't, I am now above 20 life, which is something I always try to keep track of against Meryl Age stacks. Okay, Wastelanding, just one of my lands. Yeah, that's fine. Ooh, got the Cultist. It's pretty good. And yeah, even that buffs these guys. That's pretty good. Yep. Okay, and then now I'm going to click correctly. Sacrifices a creature token. Okay, now the Cultist does have Death Touch, so that is a problem. But let's see, that Brainstorm is pretty timely. All right. Okay, so this should be the game. So I just push this and then I have lethal. So doesn't matter what cards I put back as long as Fatal Push winds up in the hand. I guess it matters somewhat. So what I could do is Fatal Push. All right, this is a nice little trick here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cast this Nethergoyf. And then I'm going to hold control, Fatal Push this, and Daze. Oh, no, I couldn't. Oh, I'm so stupid. I couldn't play the Nethergoyf out because I have to pay for Daze. So this is just not going to work. This Nethergoyf, though, should help. Yeah, so these are big now, and that's relevant. Oof, that was, yeah. I think I just did one of those skateboard tricks where you, kind of kickflip and kill yourself. So this is going to do 14 to me. But there's something I'm missing here. I think maybe Larson just conceded with that. Hits the Tamiyo. And I'll just F6. I think I just won the game, right? Yeah. So if I hadn't played that Nether Goyf out, I could have. What I was trying to do was daze my own spell, and then picking up the land would get not delirium. It would get revolt, and I just lost track of that for a second. And you know what? That's like how you win and lose matches. So yeah, I just have to play super tight. And I'm really thankful to be 2-0 in this. This easily could have gone to a game 3 where even time could have been a consideration because I'm busy talking. But here we are. On the play. I mean, it's definitely a keep. The one colored source is not ideal. No like counter spells, no cantrips. If Tamiyo lives and I don't get wastelanded though, it's gonna be great. Those are two big ifs. But you certainly can't mull a functional hand with this deck. Meanwhile, my opponent is mulling a lot. If they're playing oops, this is not going to be a good hand. Mulling to 4. All right, here we go. Attempt to Tamiyo. Pedal. Pedal. I mean, already like Dark Ritual, Cabal Ritual. Okay. Necrodominance. All right. You got me. Against Necrodominance decks, I always suggest making them go through it because the fail rate is somewhat high. I don't think I'm going to talk during this, so I will let the video edit out silence, and I'll just skip to the end when one of us is dead. Probably me. All right, well, after going and flipping my laundry, I have returned to see that I am dead. Yeah, but yeah, this deck does whiff like a fair amount, so I would definitely recommend letting them do their thing. So I like Consign, I don't love it. I definitely like Force of Negation. I don't know about Hydroblast. Maybe. There's just so many cards I think I will not be liking, and I may even like Surgical Extraction. And Borrower, like if they resolve it, I can bounce it back to hand. Bowmaster is not great. They sort of win in response to the Bowmaster triggers. Fatal Push, any sort of removal is definitely something I want gone. I would hate if they pivoted into some stupid like Barrogoyf strategy, but I think that actually just works out nicely to cut those cards. All right, let's hope they mull that aggressively again, and then I'm ready for it. Yeah, keep. Go ahead and just play the Nether Goyf out. I don't like Daze against this deck because they play all those guides, so you might think that Daze is good. But here I have a real clean, like I don't have to choose between going Daze or like Force. Because I have Force Blue and I have Daze. So what'll be tempting though is like, I don't think I'll be able to Daze a Thoughtseize this turn or something like that. Gemstone Mine. All right. And Pedal. And Pedal. And Chromox. So looks like Daze won't be live. I probably then, let's see. I'll probably go Force Pitch, Force, because Daze is likely to be live again. Okay. I mean, that's probably just the game right there, but let's see. Another land is not great. So I will fetch this now, Surveil. Hydroblast. Don't think I want that at this point. And now I just have to hope to get them dead. I wouldn't mind drawing Surgical. I feel like if I Surgical Necrodominance, I'm just going to win. But they have plenty of time to draw another one. Okay, Thoughtseize. I'll find out what that last card is in hand and grow my Goyf in the process. Beseech the Mirror. Yeah, happy to see that gone. And that third power on Nether Goyf feels pretty significant. Okay, so after no play, I draw another land. I probably will play that fetch land out. If I can work my way up to a hardcast Force of Will, that would be pretty nice. Now we're getting to the territory of the game where that decision to pitch the days over the force is starting to look kind of sus. All right, Murktide. I'll have to look after combat if I can make that Murktide big enough to warrant doing it. So I can make the Murktide a 6/6, which would reduce the clock by 1 turn. Also, I'm getting to the point to where Necrodominance just won't draw that many cards. So I think I like playing the Murktide. I'll just empty all the cards from my graveyard. Valakut Awakening. Put any number of cards from your hand on the bottom of the library and draw that many cards. So this is just like cycling the card in their hand. So they don't like the card. I think I'll just daze this. There's no guarantee at all that I'll be able to daze next turn. Okay, so they pay for the daze, but now they don't draw any cards, right? Because they can't put any cards. Okay, so it's that many +1. So, well, let's see how this goes. I think 9 life is not enough. Okay, yeah, good game. All right, game 3. I don't think I want any changes, so I'll resubmit. Okay, this is sweet. This is Force of Will plus Surgical, so if they have a Necrodominance, I can just get rid of it immediately. And they're mulling again. I mean, you just have to mull the Necrodominance. There's nothing to do. You have to build your whole deck around that one card, and then there's only 4 copies of it. And then Beseech the Mirror is sort of a pale imitation of it. Chancellor of the Annex. That's pretty good. But I can Surgical to clear that if they put any cards in their graveyard. And I think they'll have to Duress. Yeah, that's good. So one of their cards is Chancellor. And that's still in hand. Yeah, took the force. Pretty obvious. Okay. I think I'm going to play out the Wasteland and pass. They don't have perfect information. I can cast the Surgical. I don't know how effective Surgical will be. They probably have it here. Yeah. So the last card is Chancellor. I guess I can Surgical the Cabal Ritual. And then I just have to hope they brick on mana. Yeah, you got me. How about it? Right, if I lose, that kind of stinks. This had to be a pretty favorable matchup. And yeah, the game 1 was kind of stolen because, you know, that's just how combo decks win a lot of the time. Your opponent doesn't have the correct cards to interact. And then, yeah, just wasn't able to get this last one. I thought I had a pretty good hand, but they had protection. So it is what it is. All right, on the draw, this hand is a fine hand. I'll keep. I wish I had another blue card because I would love to go turn 1 Tamiyo. But if I need force blue, then that is my blue card. So just see what my opponent's up to. Basic Swamp. Dark Ritual. Thoughtseize. Ugh. Yeah. Well, it's not Oops, but it could be Doomsday. It could be that mono black like Moonshadow deck. Because I'm pretty sure they play Dark Ritual and then like Stalactite Stalker and stuff like that. If that's what I'm up against, that's fine. I just don't want to be dead right now. All right, Tamiyo is gone. And another Thoughtseize, sure. Just tear my hand apart. If all you're doing is Thoughtseizing me, though, like the Dark Ritual does not make this an advantageous situation. All right, so they have Nethergoyf, 2 cards in hand. I don't know if that was the most powerful Dark Ritual turn 1 imaginable. And I drew a Ponder, which I like a lot, so I will cast that. Those cards seem good. I'll put Murktide on bottom. And then, so I drew the Force, so I have Force of Will up. I probably have to Force of Will another threat. Wasteland stinks. Yeah, I'll just force the Moonshadow with my opponent on one card in hand. 4/5 Goif, though, is annoying. I might just die to the Nether Goif. Thankfully, I do have my own Goif, and mine is also a 4/5. I do have a dead draw coming next turn. Okay. The interesting decision of whether I should wasteland this right away. Keep a card on top. I will not wasteland another Nether Goif. I'll drop the Bowmaster. I thought about saving it to like be the extra point of damage to take down one of these Goifs, but it's fine. Okay, Thoughtseize. I suppose I'll do that. Okay, their own Bowmaster. I think I'll wasteland and then just pass. No attacks. Passing the turn. Okay, Underground Sea is nice. I would really like another one. Then I can cast Murktide. And I think I'm just passing 2 here. Okay, second land now for my opponent. I do think it would behoove them to attack, actually. But they are not. Okay, Daze. Not the worst. But yeah, I still just had to pass the turn there. And now my opponent plays a Bauble, which is good. That's going to grow their Goifs. But I think in this situation, I just need to chump 1. And then I'll take 5. I will get to ping and get my blocker back, which will be nice. Tamiya. Also not the worst. I think I'm going to get an attack in here. And then this turn I probably block with both the Bowmaster and the Orc Army. Okay, another land is starting to make Daze look pretty bad. So as I said, they're attacking me both, so I will double block. They're fetching. Okay, maybe Daze will be good. Fetching twice here. Yeah, definitely gonna Daze Barrowgoyf. And then another Bauble. Okay. So if I draw a removal, that would be really good. Okay, well there's the other land. I still have Surveil in the deck. I do still have a Surveil. So I will go ahead and Surveil now. And a Tamiyo is not really good, so I'll put that away. And then I will attack. I'm dead to a removal spell. And that's pretty much the concern right here. So I think my opponent could attack with 1 Goif if they want. And then I do think I should take this block while I have it. Okay. It looks like I am getting my Murktide here. So I'll play Murktide, and I should think hard about this because if I, for whatever reason, have to like bring this Goif back next turn, or the Goif that's in my graveyard already, I want to be able to do that. And I don't need to make Murktide very big. I'm just going to make Murktide a 4/4. And then all I have to do is chump with my Goif and then swing for lethal with Murktide. If they have like double Bowmaster, I would be punished for not making my Murktide bigger. Okay, attacking with 1. I guess I'll block. I don't know if they have anything with flying, or an Edict would be quite good. Okay, a Bauble. Fetching. Fetching to thin, probably. So maybe they have something they can draw to, like an Edict. Did you draw it? Okay. So I would have loved a blue card. But Bowmaster is pretty good, because that can block both these things if there's something I'm worried about. Looks like this is just going to get through. Okay, cool. All right, against this deck, Deluge is probably too slow. I think the Edicts and the Barrowgoyfs are my best bet, and same thing with Brazen Borrower. And then I think I can take out maybe just like the Dazes on the draw and a couple Forces. Try this. All right, game 2, I'm on the draw. I cannot keep this into no lander. Sure, I'll keep this, and I'm a little flooded with the lands. I'll put the Surveil land back. I hope my opponent doesn't have like a blistering fast start. Like I'm not super well positioned against like a Dark Ritual. Nethergoyf I can handle. I will go ahead and Thoughtseize. Okay. I think I just have to take Super Shredder. I'm a little surprised they didn't bobble that turn. Yeah, I'll just take the Shredder. And I think I can probably handle the Nethergoyf from here. They can already make it a 3-4. All right, they drew Wasteland for turn. That's not a huge deal. So I can have 6. There's the bobble. Oh, you know what card is in my deck that definitely shouldn't be in my deck is Snuff Out. I didn't take that card out. Okay, Wasteland, not very good. I don't think I'm going to play out the Tamiyo just to have it get edicted and then grow their Goyf. So I think I'll play around that by playing Bowmaster. Moonshadow. How good is Tamiyo going to be going forward? I think I will force this. I think against this deck, you have to force threats. Okay, and then just trying to grow the Goyf with sewers. And they succeed, yeah. Okay. I think I should Surveil here, try to start getting a little aggro, because if I can kill this Goyf, that should be the game. This deck that I'm playing against really has to push damage quite quickly. And they're really good at that. I'm already at 9 life. Of course, I've Thoughtseized. Don't want another land. Another land. I'll just play out the fetch land. I will plan on Bowmastering and then chumping. If the Edict gets spent on the Bowmaster, I will be very happy. Alright, so they go to combat and I fetch. Play the Bowmaster, I'll ping them. And then I will block with the token, because keeping the Bowmaster around could help me get around that Edict in a meaningful way. Okay, and they Fatal Push that. That's totally fine. Of course, that does mean that Edict is still in there. Ponder is nice. I think my best draw at this point is just removal for the Goyf, which I have plenty of. Though none of those are that. So I will shuffle. Okay, Brainstorm is also pretty good. Just another chance to find that spell. There we go. And then I can shuffle away stuff as well. I'm going to fetch now, but I will pass the turn. So they have a Sheoldred's Edict. They have one unknown card. And this is it right here. Push. They will be able to bring it back. They can get rid of a creature, an instant. They could bring it back as what looks like a 3-4. It looks like they maybe have something better to do. Dark Ritual. It's pretty scary. Barrowgoyf, sure. Oh, that's pretty bad. So I can get rid of the Edict. I guess I do that. So Thoughtseize, my draw for turn. Take Sheoldred's Edict. And then I can chump. Stay alive. But not looking good here. I'm very close to being stable, but I'm not there yet. And again, I'll block with the token. If they happen to draw like a bobble or something, I might get another token. Then I can F6. Looks like Goyf is coming back. I think it'll get to stay at 3-4. So with that in mind, Kaito not very good. Maybe Murktide would be okay. My own Barrowgoyf would be okay, though the Barrowgoyfs would just trade. And then we'd be kind of back to square one. Okay, Urza's bobble. Petty Theft. Petty Theft is decent. So I'll Petty Theft this. And then I won't block with the Bowmaster on this because then they can crack the bauble. So it's sort of like a net, sort of an even trade to not block. But next turn that block will be forced. Yeah, there's Barrogoyf back. Just treading water here. All right, I'm dead. Thoughtseize not going to get it done. I guess I could have Thoughtseize them. All right, on the play, I think I like Daze much better. I think this time I'll get rid of the forces. And maybe one Bowmaster. I really don't think Bowmaster is great against this deck. They're not really drawing cards. This is risky, but I'll keep the one-lander, sure. Probably need to start with a Ponder. I'll bobble them first thing. Actually, I can bobble myself. And then if I see a land on top, I can play the Goyf. If I don't see a land, okay, I see a land. So I'll play the Goyf. If they Thoughtseize me, they'll probably take Edict. Okay, push, sure. And I drew another land, so not hurting for lands. I'll cast a Ponder first thing. Yeah, those are all really good. So I can Thoughtseize them. Draw the push next turn. Okay. Double Bowmaster is pretty annoying. I can answer one Bowmaster. I think I just have to get rid of these Bowmasters. Play the Swamp out for turn. I presume they're going to Thoughtseize me and then bobble. Yep. So I can have 6. They could have also drawn a threat, which would be bad, but I do have the push. All right, they took my Bowmaster, which I'm not too mad about. Like, they're really not drawing too many cards. Okay, I think this turn I'm going to spend the turn pondering before they get a Bowmaster down. Kaito is not bad. I'm willing to keep Kaito on top. Okay. I'll put Wasteland on the bottom, then Kaito, then Underground Sea. And then if next turn they like drop a threat, I guess they're gonna see the with the bauble, they're gonna see the Kaito, but that's okay. There's the Bowmaster. They bauble, they see the Kaito. I think because Kaito draws cards, I can spend the push on this Bowmaster. It also uses my mana much better. So I will do that. And then I don't think I want that Wasteland on top of my deck, so I can get rid of the dead draw by zeroing the Kaito. I know I don't actually draw a card unless I can convince them to fetch, and I will go to second main just in case they do it, like to be lazy. But they didn't, so good for them. So I'll get rid of these lands. So live draw coming off the top. My Nethergoyf can be brought back at any point, which will protect the Kaito very nicely. Edict can hit a Barrogoyf or any significant threat. They put Mishra's Bauble in the graveyard, so they have a live draw here. The amount of time it's taking, yeah, they took a long time on a 2-mana spell. I was very worried it was Edict, which is very sad, but I'm going to get to bring back a pretty big Nethergoyf. Sure. I think they know my hand, so... And they attack for 1. Ooh, Barrogoyf. I think that's better than bringing back Nethergoyf, so... There we go. 6/7 Barrogoyf. F6. And my opponent has perfect information. See what they do with it. Is this another Edict? Or they have their own Barrogoyf? Okay. Well, your own Barrogoyf is pretty good, I must say. So Fatal Push or another removal spell that targets would be good. Land, not very good. How about I start by... if I attack and they block with the Orc Army, that's really bad, actually. So I don't think I can actually attack. But I can play the land. And I can play the Nethergoyf. And I can exile, try to do redundant card types to Let's see. I don't have another instant, but there's an instant in my hand. And then I'll get rid of a creature because I get the sense my Barrogoyf is probably not long for this world. I imagine we're going to trade Barrogoyfs. Okay, Bowmaster. I think I have to Edict now. I think I would rather have either of these guys off the table versus the Bowmaster. Guess I'll get the basic island. Sacrifice a non-token creature. And I can have 6. And I'm sure they'll sack the Moonshadow. So I cut Feed the Cycle for that card, and Feed the Cycle would be much better in this situation, though I did Edict a Merit Lage earlier, so kind of a wash. Oh, please don't have Fatal Push. Oh, brutal. I don't think I can afford to chump here, so I'm just gonna take it. Do your worst. I don't know, maybe I should have chumped there. Yeah, they're gonna get another Barrogoyf. They chose Nethergoyf. Brazen Borrower is not the worst. I can borrow I can petty theft their thing. But yeah, just looking bad. Alright, so I'll pass the turn. I really doubt they'll do anything pre-combat. Yeah. Petty theft. Dark Writ, sure. So I'm just gonna play this stuff all back out. Sure. Yeah, I'm looking super dead here. I'll play Borrower, but obviously I can't block that stuff. Another Nethergoyf means I can like vaguely stay alive. I guess I have to play it out. I can swing for 3. Not looking good. And they can just swing out and I go to 1. So I have to block these. I have to chump here. I just don't think there's anything that can get me out of this. I could tread water with a Bowmaster. Or they could just have a Bowmaster here and put me out of my misery. Yeah, another Barrogoyf is just good game. I guess I'll take a draw step just to see what I get, but I don't think there's any draw I have. Yeah, Murktide, very late to the party. Good games. All right, I'm on the draw in the last round. This is like a pretty sketchy hand because of the 1 land. But because of Daze and then Force of Will, I'm pretty reluctant to just put it back. If I don't draw the other land, I'm gonna be in trouble. But I have quite a while before that becomes a real situation. I will keep. I probably have to get a basic. Unless I know for sure my opponent is not a Wasteland deck. This could be like some Moon deck, which I haven't really seen in quite a while. What is this? Magus? Turn 1 Magus. Well, I can't have that. So I think I have to pitch the Kaito here. And hopefully that's just it. Alright, well there's the other land. I could Wasteland this. That's quite tempting, actually. If I Wasteland and don't draw the other land, I'm gonna be in a lot of trouble. If I Tamiyo backed by Daze, whatever they play next, that could be better. And then I could just end up Wastelanding anyway. I think I will Wasteland. I'm gonna go for the gotcha line and just hope that this pans out. But I don't feel great about this. And if they're able to just like put another like Magus on the stack, yeah, just City of Traders right away. And Fable is really good. Yeah, this is tough. I think I'm gonna go for the Nethergoyf rather than the Tamiyo. Tamiyo just seems quite slow at this point. And at least this way, if they want to play the if they want to get a treasure token, they'll have to attack into my Nethergoyf. All right, Blood Moon, sure. At least I have the basic swamp. Murktide looks pretty bad. Just go ahead and attack here. And I'll hold the Bowmaster, hoping to ambush the token. It's an interesting question about whether to block actually with the Bowmaster or with the token. And so really what the question is what's going to be more impactful? Having a 3/4 nether goy, being able to ping with the One Ring. And I think the answer is 3/4 nether goy. I just really don't think that Bowmaster is going to handle the One Ring. And of course they have it, so I'm just going to scoop this game. There's just no chance. Well, this is frustrating. I'm just battling for play points. I do notice sometimes, like, as you saw in my commentary, like just a few things where I'm playing fast in ways that I really don't need to. There's a lot of cards I want to bring in here. And I just want to limit my exposure to Chalice and Blood Moon. I can take a couple Bowmasters out. Yeah, I don't feel like I'm playing my very best for sure right now. And that is an issue. Why I feel like I'm in a slump. I mean, clearly this deck has been doing great. This exact league, I think the meta has been pretty decent. I do think I could have won that match against Stompy most of the time. Not Stompy, the Necrodominance deck. And then the last loss was close as well, but I do feel like I'm not playing my absolute best, and it's a slump that I have to work hard to break out of. This looks like a Chalice. I'll daze the Chalice. It could be a trap to daze. Ooh, I said yield to all, turn off auto yield. Kaito is just not what I'm looking for. I'm very far away from Kaito. Okay, they are gonna pay for that. So that means I do have to force. I'll go force a negation. Well, I'll make them pay for the days first. I think I'm gonna let this go. With no significant one drops anytime soon. Keep the land. Yes, I lose Fatal Push, but if this is just like a Thoughtseize on Fatal Push, that's fine. And then the Brainstorm can be pitched to force. So what I really have to keep off the table is like a Blood Moon. And even that, I have the Barrogoyf. So I might be in a position where I can get kind of greedy. I'm gonna let this resolve with basic Swamp in hand. And I'll go ahead and play the Swamp. I just want to make sure I have removal for anything, or counters for anything that can keep Barrogoyf from winning. Yeah, they're not even attacking because they fear the Bowmaster. Okay, so now I have double force, and they just have one land. So they were just relying on me getting locked out of the game. So having that basic was really important. And concealing it, like I did. Fury, pitch, Blood Moon. If they stack the triggers wrong, Barrogoyf would live. I can't play into that, so I'll force. So this is the exact thing I said I would force. And now it is a 4/5, so they can't Fury it again. They may block with the Magus here. If they do, that Wasteland draw will punish. So I'll hide the Wasteland. Okay, they're taking the hit. I'd love to see another Barrogoyf. I whiff. I'm going to continue to hide the Wasteland. Yeah, I think I'm just going to hide the Wasteland. Okay, sweet. It's going to be a little more complicated on the draw. I think I'll bring in the Edicts over a couple Thoughtseizes. And maybe even the Bowmasters over the remaining Thoughtseizes. I just really don't want to play into a Chalice too hard. And I think that's how you can beat this deck, is not being too vulnerable to any particular one of their hate pieces. And so there I was able to actually just play through all of it. All right, so this hand folds to a Chalice and a Blood Moon, but it has double force, so I will keep. Turn 1 Magus is basically the game. Blood Moon. Okay, well, that's getting forced. I'll pitch the Kaito. And I'm still in quite a lot of trouble to a Magus of the Moon. Okay, a tapped land. I like seeing that. Okay, Fatal Push is nice. I'm gonna brainstorm looking for... Ugh. That sucks. I do like Snuff Out. I'll put back the Barrow-goyf and the Borrower. And then hopefully this brainstorm can find me that next land. Blood Moon, so I won't get to brainstorm. But I just can't. I die right away to Blood Moon. And then Chalice. Yeah, Chalice is fine. I will lose my Fatal Push to that. I can always Brazen Borrower it if I really need to cast Fatal Push. Fable is good. I can borrow the token. I think I like that as a way to spend my mana. I know that the Bowmaster can hit it, but the Bowmaster can hit anyway here. So let's see. Oh, I was supposed to flash it in there. Oh, my bad. Ugh. And there's Blood Moon. This is bad, man. And if I had, yeah, so you see, I'm just really not playing very tightly, so I deserve to lose this if it happens. I'm really locked out of the game here. If I had 3 extra power on board and I had them at a lower life total, maybe this would work out. And now I won't be able to attack into this thing. So this has just been a pretty abysmal league overall. If I draw the basic swamp immediately, maybe I have a chance. I'm done. Good game. Well, this league started really well, and the wheels just completely fell off and finished with a 2-3. There were definitely like 3 or 4 times where I had noticeable lacks of type play, and that does add up. And so it's really unfortunate that I wasn't able to do better in that situation. I think that very last game was probably still unwinnable. The third Blood Moon was just lights out. I think the deck feels fine. I can't say anything about the deck. I just have to play better. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.